Today I'd like to tell you why you should stop using those old, flimsy, black plastic seed trays that you get at many of the big box stores and home centers. Uh, I used them up until a few years ago and switched to these that I made because those black plastic trays rarely lasted a whole season. They leaked and cracked, they warped easily, and occasionally the plants would drop out of them. And the ones that you see here should last for decades. They're inexpensive and easy to make. Typically will take you 30 or 40 minutes to construct just one of them. And the materials are all available at places like Home Depot, UBS, and Lowe's. Anyhow, the way these work are you go down to your store of choice and you pick up these planks. They're in the vinyl section and they come in standard widths. This happens to be about 11 1/4 inches wide, and they come in 8-foot lengths. You can sometimes find them in longer lengths, but 8 feet is easy to manage, and an 8-foot section will allow you to make at least 3 of the bottom portions of the trays. In addition to the 11 1/4 by about 1/2 inch bottom sections, you'll also need to pick up a couple of 8-foot lengths of 3/4 inch by 3 1/2 inch planks. They'll be in the same section. And what you do first is to decide how long you want them. Now, I chose 34 inches for the widest one, or the longest ones, and the shorter ones are just what was left over after cutting the 8-foot sections. The reason I chose 34 inches is that I have this cold frame outside that I wanted 4 of them to fit in. And as you can see, the temperature, the ambient temperature outside is about 40 degrees, but it's 95 in the cold frame. And if the cold frame looks familiar, it's a miniaturized version of one that James Prigioni from the Garden Channel came up with for outdoor use in his actual gardens. I modified it only in size, and also I used marine vinyl, clear marine vinyl for the covering. And it is set on hinges that allows me to take the trays in and out. Once you get your vinyl, you and decide on how long you want them, cut a couple of end pieces that will fit across the 11 1/4 inch span. You then set the 2 end pieces down vertically or on their edge, and affix the bottom plate to the end pieces using these 2-inch stainless steel deck screws. Now, I found that 3 screws put in each end were sufficient. Once you get your end pieces in, you measure the distance needed to get the side piece cut, and you do the same thing with the 2 side pieces, and then add 4 or 5 additional decking screws. These are optional. I wanted the tray to sit off the ground to keep dirt off the bottom, so I just added these. They're certainly optional, but just keeps everything cleaner. Once the entire tray is assembled, I ran a tube of silicone down each of the inside corners and edges to ensure that they would be waterproof. And these are a few years old now, but and you can see that there is some discoloration from the dirt and the water, but they're watertight, they're rugged, and I don't have to stick with those flimsy little seed pots either. I like to give vegetable plants a nice head start with a robust root system, so I use larger containers, and by the time they're ready to go out in the garden, they're rugged enough that they can survive environmental changes, unusually cold weather, or dry periods without dying on you. So that's about it. They're, as I said, simple to assemble. They're not that expensive, and they will likely last for decades. And above all, they will just make your life a lot easier. So I hope you consider assembling 1, 2, or 3 of these, whatever your needs are, and I guarantee that you will find them better than those flimsy trays that you have probably struggled with for years. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck during the growing season.